Roaming leads the way, we glide so smooth. In the land of Qovery, code gets in the groove. From the clouds above to the servers below, DevOps on autopilot, watch our code flow. Push and deploy, we ain't feeling stressed. With Qovery in control, we know we're blessed. No more late nights or frantic code repairs. Just sit back and relax, let Qovery handle your cares. DevOps on autopilot, feeling like a dream. Qovery's got our back, keeps our code supreme. Through every update, every line of code, Romeric's guiding hand lightens up the load. Infrastructure built in the blink of an eye. Less time on setup, more time to fly. Qovery's magic touch turns hard work to play. Watch innovation bloom in a seamless way. Kiss those downtime worries goodbye, my friend. Quality and uptime, the stacks will ascend. With a platform that knows what we want to see, Qovery takes the stress, sets the code free. DevOps on autopilot, feeling like a dream. Qovery's got our back, keeps our code supreme. Through every update, every line of code, Romeric's guiding hand lightens up the load. Romeric's guiding hand lightens up the load.
Hello and welcome back to the Rawkode Academy. I'm your host David Flanagan, also known across the internet as Rawkode. Today is another episode of Rawkode Live, the show where we get hands-on keyboards and take a live look at cloud native and cloud native adjacent technologies. And the title of today's episode is DevOps on Autopilot, which is a bold claim, so I'm very excited to see Qovery and be joined by the CEO, Romeric. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, I'm good, David. Thanks for having me. How are
Oh,
you?
my pleasure.
Good.
Thank you for joining me. So,
That's an amazing song like that you get like for the intro. It's crazy what you can do now with GenAI. Yeah.
I started doing that, I think, like 4 or 5 episodes ago. I mean, AI tools are getting so good now, and generating music is, I mean, I genuinely enjoy them. I think they're little catchy numbers. I mean, they're not, pushing the envelope or anything like that, but music doesn't always have to. So I think it's nice that we get a special little, song to commemorate our time together today. So
That's amazing. That's amazing. Especially that I was like doing actually, so it's completely out off topic, but I did practice. I did like some music, produce music, and you know how much time it takes just to get that. That's crazy. Like today, you can just like in a few clicks, few prompts, just get something that is ready to be uploaded. Crazy.
yeah, one prompt that I reuse over and over again. I tweak it for each tool and each guest, and I'd like the music to be somewhat familiar, so it's all kind of similar, mellow, electronic, chilled beat. But it works really well. It's really good at metal. I don't want to just deviate right down the music path in the AI chat already, but yeah, you can do some pretty powerful things with it. Anyway, people are here to learn about DevOps on Autopilot. They want to learn about your tool, Qovery, and they want to learn about you. So could you do us a favor and tell us the history and a little bit of flavor of Romeric?
Yeah, absolutely. So just quickly introducing myself. So I'm Romaric, CEO and co-founder of Qovery. I used to be a software engineer, DevOps engineer, like for a long time. Now I can no longer say that because I've been doing that like for years now. I'm still practicing. I still have like some like open source project that I'm just getting my hand on. But anyway, so yeah, basically what we do at Qovery is that we try just to make sure that developers are much more like autonomous in their day-to-day journey. You know, that they are not the most like proficient in infrastructure management, like deploying their applications, all of that is something still handled by mostly DevOps engineers, or actually, so or at least like people that they are familiar with infrastructure. And what we do provide is a platforms that helps like any developer to deploy their application in their own cloud account. And that's something that is quite interesting because I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Fly and like all the other PaaS, so platform as a service. And actually, you can see Qovery as a platform as a service, but next generations. Why? Because actually, you can run Qovery on your infrastructure, and Qovery runs on top of Kubernetes. And this is why it's quite interesting because you get the benefits of those PaaS platform, but on top of your infrastructure, basically. So in just a few minutes, you can start getting a fully state-of-the-art infrastructure ready on your cloud account without any knowledge. So we have customers in 5 minutes, they can do that. And then you can start deploying and shipping your application. And we have really like focused on the developer experience, what makes like our platform loved by our users. So yeah, that's we can dig into all of that, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, big and bold claims, which I love. You know, there's a lot of challenges in, you know, the DevOps space, the platform engineering space, all of this these days. You know, software architectures are getting more complicated, and with the aim of simplifying, you know, developers' time, like work on microservices. But all that complexity doesn't just disappear; it's getting pushed down that stack to the platform, the Kubernetes, the cloud providers, etc. And there's just a lot of tooling needed in this space that people can still go to sleep at night and not have to worry about a pager going off and a whole bunch of other things. And I feel like we're pushing a lot of this away from developers too and fragmenting things. You know, the DevOps teams, the platform teams are taking on all these responsibilities, but there's not always that collaboration that DevOps encourages us or wants us to kind of achieve. So yeah, it's interesting times these days for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, that's quite interesting what you're saying because we are seeing also like when we started the company, even Kubernetes were not like the standard. Like if we are looking like 4 years back, like only companies that they were like quite a bleeding edge were like considering and starting using Kubernetes for real in productions. And now you have, so now it's the standard, like the operating system of the cloud. But what we are seeing now is also like even DevOps engineers that they are proficient in Kubernetes, that they are looking to solutions just like for the data operations, obviously, but also to bring like a better experience like to their end user because it's quite raw, like doing kube control, commands. We have done all that. That's pretty good, but in terms of experience, especially for developers, it's not so good. So
Yeah, definitely. Hi, Ravi. Thank you for joining us and saying hello in the chat. Feel free, anyone else watching, to say hello and let us know where you're from. Roman, before we talk about the problems that Qovery solves and get hands-on with it and show people how to get started, maybe you could give us a bit of information on the origin story. Like, did you just wake up one day and go, I'm going to fix DevOps? Or did you have challenges that were in your own career, your own job? Like, I mean, how did you come up?
yeah, I do think it's a classic story. Yeah, I used to start when I start working, and this is where I met my co-founder actually, like in the HFT, so high frequency trading. We were like managing thousands of servers, like globally, with a very small team, so quite proficient in infrastructure management. I used to work with VMware systems, Solaris, so you remember at the time. So before that, the cloud was something. And then I transitioned actually like from the infrastructure side to software engineering side. And I was in the position that, okay, now I was no longer like the ones that were like dealing with tickets coming from the software engineering department and provisioning like infrastructure, but I was the one that were claiming for like that infrastructure because I needed just to run my software to deploy live, obviously in productions, iterate like in the development servers and so on and so forth. And this is where like I just realized that that's crazy, like the experience. And when you're a developer, it's kind of broken, like kind of broken. So I used to move like from one company to another, and instead of doing like the same thing, which was like at some points building a platform internally, like into the company that I was working for, I decided just to say, okay, instead of like working for the next successful companies, like that they would hire us and ask us just to build up like a platform. Okay, let's build up a product. Let's deliver that product to all the companies that would hire us. And that's the way we started, just basically Qovery. That's very classic. You were doing that before, you have done that like 4 years, now you have the experience, then okay, let's build up a product. But it's quite challenging because I'm technical, and now I'm much more like in position where I'm a salesman. I'm spending all my day just like selling the software, talking to engineer, to CTO, like VPs, and it's quite interesting, like the two aspects. But anyway, it's completely something else.
Nice. What would be, if people watch this, what's the one use case right off the bat that anyone sitting right now is struggling trying to wrangle platforms, DevOps, Kubernetes clusters? Like, what is that one first use case that you think Qovery can come in and help people with?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We have a very good use case, and actually, it's part of our go-to-market strategy. Since we are accelerating and we're getting more and more customers, we do focus and need to focus on one main use case. But it's basically like all companies, like SMBs companies, that they are transitioning from past platform. They need at some point they are like limited by like the platform as a service. You are taking Heroku, Render, Fly. You get the limits because of technical limits, but also in terms of security, in terms of compliance, and you need to get into the IaaS like AWS, GCP, Azure, Scaleway, you can name it. And basically here you have two options. The first is hiring like a DevOps engineer. When you are like a very well-funded and famous company and you want to build up anyway like a DevOps engineering team, that there is no problem for that. But when you are not, and not all companies, they can just afford like hiring a DevOps engineering team, then this is why it's quite interesting, because Qovery can be a good, very, very strong and good option, because in just a few minutes, you get a state-of-the-art infrastructure with a very good developer experience. So meaning that you can just start right away deploying your application. That's a very good use case that we are solving with our product. And that's the main use case because it's production infrastructure mostly. Yeah. So
Okay. One more question, and then we'll share my screen and we'll actually show people how to get started. Obviously, this is 2024, right? I think the last 12 to 18 months have been a turbulent time for open source projects. I'm not going to name them. I'm not going to talk about licenses or any of that, right? But Qovery it is open source, right? So, like, why did you go down that route?
that's quite interesting, and I'm gonna respond to that question. Actually, we don't even define ourselves like as an open source company. But if you look at our GitHub repository, we have a lot of, and actually our deployment engine is like fully open source, and we have a lot of components that are open source. But you see, we are not defining ourselves as an open source company. Why? Because actually the product can't work like without the control plane. So we did like take the decisions of, and I did take the decision of delivering as much as we can like in open source. So mostly like the parts that they are installed on the infrastructure of our customers, because it's for like security like reason and really transparency, because all those elements, there is a lot of small elements that they are running and they are operated like remotely on their infrastructure, on their Kubernetes cluster, on their cloud account. And so for transparency, we have decided just to open source everything. And we have also like a few other elements like in tooling that we are using internally, that they are completely open source and they can be used by our customers. So we have the open source philosophy at Herd, and we do contribute. We are even doing some contribution, but we don't define Qovery as like a 100% like a 100% open source product, because actually the control plane is like not open source today. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, I jumped onto the organization on GitHub. There's a lot of open source happening, but, that can only happen if companies can be sustainably making things open source.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to do it. I mean, it's a very big challenge right now to write all these amazing products, make them open source, but then if you can't pay your bills, feed your family, then what's the point? So
Yeah,
that makes a
yeah,
lot of sense. But
yeah.
I like the trust aspect and the transparency aspect. I think it is a really good reason for companies to push out more open source components, even if the whole thing isn't open source, because it does give people trust that,
Yeah, and yeah, maybe the same as yeah. I'm sorry, but I'm a really hard believer in open source. I do think I'm doing this job because of open source and a lot, and open source is really something. But I do think, and that's another discussion. But there is a kind like of I would not say a lie like in the industry, but it's really for me something that is open source is really open source. Like really, you can take it, you can change it, you can commercialize it, you can do whatever you want, and it must be like very open source. Otherwise, like all the software that they are not like in that aspect, you can't really, and because of the license aspect and so on. That, for me, they are not really open source, but it's another again like discussion and I prefer just to be super transparent and very clear to our users as well. Yes, we have components that they are open source, but Qovery itself is not open source. Right? Yeah.
All right, awesome. So shall we show people how to get started and what Qovery does?
Yes, let's do it. let's do it.
All right, I am on the Qovery website. As always on Rawkode Live, nothing is planned up front. I am in a very nice position where I've had my eye on Qovery for a while, but I've never actually kicked the tires on it. So this is legit for me. This is my first time ever having a play with it. So we'll go straight to the getting started guide, and we can see this is quite nice actually. You've got a whole bunch of like tracks and scenarios and tutorials. Wow, I don't often see that. That's awesome. Very cool. I'm assuming we're going to start with, that's a nice effect too. So I'm just going to geek out over your website. Nice. I'm assuming we're going to start with Hello World. So
Yeah, and the documentation is open source, fully open source.
all right. So to begin, I need a GitHub account. Check. I can manage that at least. And we are going to sign up for the Qovery web interface. So let's do that.
Yeah, you will be surprised by the sign up workflow. Let's do it.
All right. So I need to pick my cloud. I have access to all of them, so we'll just go with AWS. Where's DevOps on autopilot? Why is that not an option?
That's a good one. That's a feedback that we should.
All right, and now I just need to confirm my email address. I'll do that over here.
Yeah, and you see, yeah, absolutely. Actually, you would be like surprised. There's something. So when you sign up, you're blocked by this page. So you can confirm, and usually what you get is that an automated message directly, like in your mailbox, and then from that we give you access to the platform. So when you reply to it, but I'm gonna just give you so I can give you access actually. So
Oh, okay.
I'm looking for you, user. Yes, I can see you.
I'll take an enterprise license, please.
You have to choose your plan then right after this screen. If you go back now and you go and you move forward and validate. Yeah, you have
All right. Rawkode Academy. I'll call this platform. All right.
Yeah, you can start with the free. Yeah, there is no problem. Or you can take the team plan, then you have no restriction. Actually, there is no credit card needed, so that's good.
All right, so you've got 3 plans
Yeah.
and up to 25 users, 3 cluster, 20. Okay, I mean, this is perfect. This is fine for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it when there's a pretty generous free tier.
Yeah.
All right, I've got Qovery.
Yeah, you're ready to go. So I let you just discovering the product. That's quite interesting, actually. I don't want to like influence your.
Well,
It's kind of a product session. I'm just looking at how you interact with the product.
wait, obviously my eyes are guided right to this big create cluster button, which I
That's
know I
good.
should be going back and following the tutorial, but I'm just going to go rogue and like,
Yeah,
let's see. So
you
I
are
need to,
doing like 99% of all the users actually the documentation. And actually, it's the way also that we conceive the product is that if you have to look at the documentation to use it, there is a problem. But sometimes it's necessary still.
okay, so I mean, sensibly, I will do a local machine because I want to see that workflow. But I clicked on AWS just to see what the options were. And we've got our Qovery managed cluster or self-managed cluster. So I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. If I say I've got my own company or my own team, we use AWS, you can, I'm assuming if I give you the right credentials, you're going to manage a Kubernetes cluster for us. But if I have an existing, say, AKS cluster, I'm assuming we just hit self-managed and we deploy some sort of Qovery agent to it. I mean, is that the right
That's
assumption?
that's perfect. That's exactly that. You get
Okay.
it right. Perfect.
So with Qovery managed, I mean, is that in my own AWS account? Do you run it in your own
Yeah.
account? How does that work? Okay.
Yeah, that's a very good question. And actually, so you do just like provide the region where you want to deploy. So you have that. The credential. So you provide your credentials. So we give the permissions that we need just to create the different resources. But then from that, you have few other options like Carpenter. You can install like some add-ons on your Kubernetes cluster and so on and so forth. We'll generate so at the end like the whole configuration. So we'll create the VPC security group, load balancer, the cluster in like multiple availability zone. So we make sure that you get like a really fully fledged like production infrastructure running on your cloud account. So it's really running on your cloud account. And the beauty here is that you don't have to invest like in day 2 operation, meaning the upgrades of those clusters, but because with AWS, you have an upgrade of EKS like every 3 months. So you need to spend time like on that. And that's a big value that you get out of discovery managed like offer because you do once it's done, you get the power of Kubernetes, but without the hassle of maintaining that.
Okay, got it. Let's keep things simple. And oh, here we go. So this is where it's become a common theme recently, where people ask
Yeah.
me to install command line applications, and then I have to tell them that I use Nixos. So is it a Nix package? No. Is it a static binary?
I do think there is a NX. I do think there is a Nix package, but it's not maintained by. I'm not sure if it's managed and still maintained by the team. I do know that it was a customer that did provide that, but you can find it on the GitHub Qovery CLI. I'm gonna just look that up. Maybe
I mean,
it's
I can always
Nix.
jump into a distro box. It's not a big deal.
Oh, we
Let's,
have. Yeah, but it has not been. Yeah.
okay, I found it. Is 092.8, is that old or recent?
No, it's an old one actually.
Okay, let's not do that.
Yeah.
So let's pop this open and
Yeah.
let's see if it's a static. Is it written in Go?
Yeah, it's Go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should be okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
The path maybe is not the right one. Like
Yeah.
you can change the path. Yeah.
I was looking for local. Oh, the destination. Yeah, just dot.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
All right, I need to chmod it.
Yeah. That's a good one.
it's not static.
It's not static. It's linked. Okay, yeah, dynamically linked. That's
All
so
right.
bad. That's a yeah. You seems to be used to.
Yeah, I'm getting so used to it. I mean, Nexus has a lot of power, but a lot of paper cuts all the time, especially if it's not in Nix packages or it's not up to date in Nix
Yeah.
packages. It can be pretty painful. But we'll give that distro box just, it's only going to take a minute and then we'll install it and just run from there. Let's see if there's anything I can do in the meantime. Do I need a Kubernetes cluster locally?
Actually, Qovery is gonna like spin up everything for you. You just need the Docker runtime, and that's it.
Okay.
So yeah, and
Really, I should just start writing Nix shells for all of these streams where I get like a proper Linux file system and a directory just for stuff like this. Because
yeah, but
again, this is not the first time this happens. It's a common theme now.
yeah, but it's good. It's good. It's like really unscripted. It's like
All right. I wish I'd done Arch instead of Fedora now. Oh, come on.
I used to be a Debian guy for a long time. It's been a while now.
Yeah, me too, until Arch came along. And I just,
Yeah.
rolling releases are the best way. I always need the latest and greatest versions of packages, which Nexus is generally really good for, actually, especially these days. But there are always packages you find are just that little bit behind where they need to be.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I might need to install the Docker CLI, but that's okay. Let's get Qovery.
Again.
Qovery auth. All right, we're cooking.
Yeah, perfect. That's good. You even have, like, in the case that you don't have a browser, you can just type like -- headless, and you get like a code that you can just validate. Like,
Oh, no, DistroBox is the coolest thing I've seen in a while. Like, I am in a container. It is a Fedora container, but it hooks up everything to your host. Like, I'm actually still in my home directory and stuff like that. And
that's super nice. Yeah,
it's really slick the way they've done it.
yeah. So great.
All right.
You're authenticated now. You can just like basically run ready for real this command.
So we're going to need a Docker engine, right? Now, does it need a Docker CLI or does it use the Go SDK?
I do think it's a bash script, so we are using just the binary. That's possible that we're using the binary. And you see,
it's installing all the tools it needs. Oh, no,
yeah.
I wanted Docker.
Yeah,
Though.
but you don't.
It's okay, I can get Docker.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, basically this command is here just to install like we do install what we do install. I do think a Debian with like a K3s that is running, and then we install like the Helm charts, the Qovery. We do generate the Helm charts, and we install the Helm chart on it. Yeah. Let's see if it works. At least on my side, it works.
Oh, we'll get there. The challenge is the internet in my office has been like potato net for a while now. They really need to fix it. All right, it's getting there. Okay, so Qovery demo up.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. It's installing K3D.
Okay, let's.
Installing Helm. Okay, so it's installing all the tools, but it does expect Docker to be on the host, which is fair enough, right? I mean, everybody has Podman, Docker, or something like that running these days.
Yeah. But this command can be like flaky sometimes because we do not control all the environment like running on your machines. So sometimes we have like some weird issues, but yeah, in general it works. But it happens that it didn't work. So people they fall back like on the classic install of running that on their cloud account, or if they have already a Kubernetes cluster, so they install Qovery on it and it just works. So yeah, but that's quite convenient here because you can just run that command. Once you're done, you can just drop like destroy, run the same command and destroy like the configuration.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so it now appears to be installing Qovery to the cluster.
Yeah. Congratulations.
I'll tell you what, I'll do you a favor after this stream. I will update the next package for you to the latest release.
Oh, if you're doing that, then you will get for sure a shirt or something.
Oh yeah, I'll take it. Don't you worry.
That's good.
Hopefully it's getting there. I mean, what's it installing to the cluster right now? Like, what is a Qovery Helm chart doing here?
It's installing. So Qovery is written in Rust. Okay, so we are installing like basically the binaries. I can even share my screen like during the installation, so I can
Yeah,
just
go for it.
explain how things work. So you will see it's like public. It's quite interesting just to get into that. Doesn't support macOS. Just
There you go. It's there.
Oh, it's mine. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So yeah, basically so how it works, it works this way. So you have the control plane running on our side, okay, and you have the Qovery binaries that they're running on your Kubernetes cluster. So what we do install is that we create a namespace, Qovery namespace, and we do install those binaries. Those binaries, they are written in Rust. Okay, so that's the part, like all those components, they are like open source. So you can dig into that and you can see exactly how it works. But basically, the way it works, you will see it's very dumb, but it's done in a very good way. But we interact with the Kubernetes API, but we also do generate like all the configuration file on the fly. So based on the configuration and the stuff that you select on the interface, and then they are translating into the control plane. Okay. And you see something which is quite interesting is that our control plane is like a public API, okay? And your machine is not exposed, right? So you are installing Qovery on your own Kubernetes, like local machine. And what happens is that it's the Qovery engine that is getting the connections to the control plane and not the opposite. So, which is like a reverse connection. And then from that, the Qovery engine, your Qovery engine, when you deploy an application and you do some operation, actually they pull like tasks from the control plane, and then they are executed and they report back to basically the control plane, so you can get the information from the interface.
All right, nice.
Yeah,
Those are pretty cool diagrams. How'd you make those?
it's Excalibur, of course.
Scalidraw. Nice. Very
Yeah,
cool.
but now I'm using TL Draw. Now I don't know why I do prefer TL Draw now.
See, I like it Scalidraw because I've got a VS Code plugin, so I can just pop open like a new window. And I mean, I'm sure TLDraw might have one too. We now have a Qovery cluster, so I am going to switch us back now.
Yeah.
Ta-da! So I'm assuming,
So now, yeah.
hopefully, that if I come here,
and you go back,
we have a cluster. Woo. All right, let's click. I'm not even going to look at the tutorial. I'm just going to start clicking on buttons. But all right, I've got a cluster name.
I'll let you click everywhere if you want. There is no problem. I'll let you discovering the product and what you have to. So what you have to do. But basically here, so maybe I can just give some explanations. But you are getting into the settings of your cluster. So we have a concept, what we call advanced settings. So we'll not cover that. But basically, once you have your cluster that is ready, okay, you can start deploying your application. Okay, And you see something very cool is that, for instance, in my demo account, I have like dozens of clusters. So you can have clusters coming from anywhere, AWS, GCP, Scaleway, Azure, and you can plug them and unify the whole experience. That's why we have customers actually that they're using Qovery. So yeah, basically, yeah, you have to click here. It's not super, so we are reworking on that interface, but yeah, that's exactly what you need to do actually.
All right. I'm going to call it production.
Yeah, you
I know
can.
it says I've got constraints, but I want to know what those are. So I'm just going to go straight and YOLO it.
Yeah,
I'm going to click on settings first, just because I'm curious. Oh,
yeah,
all right. Okay, nice.
yeah.
Right.
You have
Okay.
the
I'm starting to
staging.
get a feel for this now.
Mm,
Cool. What can I deploy? Let me see.
Yeah,
Nothing complicated.
nothing complicated. So you can deploy an application coming from like a GitHub. So you can take. Do you have some codes like on your GitHub repository, for instance?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Yeah. Do you have any applications available on your GitHub repository on GitHub account?
You mean like a deployment.yaml?
Yeah, or you can deploy. Oh, you can deploy Helm charts if you want. We have a very nice experience for that. You can deploy a container directly from a container registry. You can deploy an applications coming from GitHub. So Qovery will clone the repository for you, build if you have a Docker file, and so on and so forth. So you can really choose. So just put yourself like in the shoes of a developer. Okay, you're a software engineer. You are used to use a path, and you want to deploy in applications coming from your Git repository. Yeah.
Okay. Container registry. New registry. Go away one password. Anonymous is fine. And the image name is Rawkode Mustard V1. I'm going to just check that.
Yeah. That's a good thing just to take a look at.
Yeah, there we go.
Just
V1 and V2.
okay. What's the image name like? Because it's longer than just that. I do think maybe it's the maybe.
Oh, you find the tags as well. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
So we don't need to set that. It's all done for me. Okay. Deploy
Yeah.
me.
Whoa, that's a lot. Do you have enough like in your Docker runtime?
It's only one
We'll
core,
see.
right?
We'll see. Yeah, it's one core. Yeah, absolutely. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. No problem if it's not the case, actually.
I mean, this is a nice machine.
Lucky you. I'm the
128
CEO.
gig
I'm
of
not
RAM
supposed to
and
have like
32
a
cores.
now I'm the CEO. I'm not supposed to have like a cool machine.
Yeah, as all you
I'm
can
just
see, it's
doing
just all
Excel stuff.
Google Chrome.
Yeah.
Killing. I don't even use Chrome. I use Firefox, but I have to use Chrome for streaming because Firefox just can't do multimedia. It's awful. Awful. All right, it has a port 666. Let's publicly expose it.
Yeah.
And cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you can set that afterwards actually, so you don't need to necessarily just do anything.
I'm just clicking on stuff now, to be honest.
You're right.
I'm just curious. So
You're right. We can test the interface and see if the front end team is good.
all right, let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's the most interesting part. So now what you have done is that you have created a service, and actually inside this environment, you can create multiple services. So your database, your different stuff. Oh, there is an error. That's perfect. Perfect. Okay. Hit one minute. So we
Okay, so
got the
it says to look at my deployment. I mean, I thought I was looking at my deployment.
But actually, it's just you're already on that, and just I'm looking at the R fade, but we roll back into the version, and that's
Failed to
quite
mirror
interesting.
image.
What will be the error actually? So if you fail to mirror the image, that's quite interesting. I'm not sure about this error. We can dig into that together. Actually.
I'm just going to make sure.
Yeah, if you can just do that. But we found the image, so must be the
Oh,
Rawkode 3.
yeah. Docker images aren't allowed to use mixed case.
Oh,
I wonder if that's the problem.
that's a good. So I will report back that to my team. So they need to very good. Yeah,
So now
and you
we get
see,
to edit a service, right? So
yeah, you can't expect like developers just digging into that kind of error. So when it happens, it's kind of messy for them.
all right. So it's now redeploying.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can look at the logs.
It seems happier.
Yeah, you can look at the details. Yeah, seems to be much happier.
Yeah.
Well
Although
done.
I'm now pulling it here.
You're now
So
Qovery
slowly
certified.
pulling it here, but yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, come on, internet. You're faster than this.
yeah. That's that's the counterpart of running that on your local machine. But at least you see and you get the experience. Like it's
Well, let's
very
do some hellos while we wait. So, hello, Moz. Welcome back. Good to see you again. Thank you. Yep, you were here last time too. Thank you for joining us again. Thank you. And we have a question.
yeah.
YMO wants to know if we're going to cover self-hosting Qovery. So, I know you said the control plane isn't open source. What does that mean for people that are in that kind of self-hosting land?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Actually, we are working on an enterprise version like for next year. It's in our plan, like just to provide the ability to also self-host the control plane, but only in enterprise like offer, just for like security and compliance reasons, mostly bank, for instance, they need that. So yeah, that's the options that we deliver.
All right. Moz has got a question for you. So, does Qovery support deployment to instances or virtual machines? For instance, can I manage Ansible deployments with Qovery?
That's a very good question. I like that. I like this question. Yeah, this is real world question, and the response is yes. Actually, Qovery is we use Kubernetes as like an orchestration layer, and you can deploy Terraform script. You can deploy your own Terraform module. You can deploy your CloudFormation script, Ansible script. You can deploy anything, and I'm going to show you like a much more complete, if you want, a pipeline where we deploy such things like different type of stuff. We even have customers actually that they're only deploying Lambda application. You imagine? So actually, they use Kubernetes just as an orchestration layer with Qovery, and they deploy Lambda applications for ephemeral environment to create dynamic environments for testing purpose. That's quite interesting, right? It's different like from the main use case of using Kubernetes, but Kubernetes is really good at just orchestrating stuff. So
Yeah, I think the Kubernetes model, if you're comfortable and happy to write controllers that can live in there and engage in that fashion, you can do a lot and build a lot of really powerful software on top of it. I was just to talk about SaltStack. That like before Kubernetes, SaltStack was one of my favorite pieces of software, but it excelled at that exact use case as well.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we have a
that's
deployment.
that's very good. So you can click on overview, for instance, and this is something interesting. So now you can just look at you can open the links. You see the links on the right, the top right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, you can open this link. It will work. Is that not found like or maybe your machine is not like do you oh yeah. Is that supposed to work like these things or not really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
Is that working on your? Can you just look at the? Yeah, tick, 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 tick.
oh, come on. Oh, no, that's not going to work because it's a kind cluster. That's my... Oh, that is the cluster,
No,
right?
no,
Okay.
no, no. Is that the cluster? Yeah, you can see the application. So it's running here. Yes, so that's good.
Okay,
And can you
so
tell?
let's do
Yeah,
port forward
yeah. Let's do that, and let's see.
to a pod. 666. I'll just stick it on 8080. Oh,
Not
oh,
found.
the
Oh no,
namespace.
no, no. You missed the maybe the 6. You still need.
No, just the namespace.
Okay, but the port is like 4 times 6, right?
Oh, and it's
I know. I
because
know it's 3 times 6 or 4
yeah,
times
three
6.
sixes because it's part of clustered, so it's the number of the devil.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. That's a good one.
So that failed for binary reasons, which means I probably got that the wrong way around, right? Because it should. I can never remember. Yeah. Okay. So localhost. Yeah.
Yeah, it works that way. Can you try something for me? You see, you have the access info. Just try something. Yeah, you can local machine. So you have if you have a tab that is local machine. Actually, so Qovery, we do provide like a way just to pour forward through our CLI, and we have a system that makes it possible because we install a Rust agent like that is forwarding the thing through the control plane. And if you execute that command, maybe that should be the P. So it's something that is a bit dumb, but look at the local power here. And yeah, exactly. Okay. And now if you are doing local host, okay, that's probably I don't know what's, maybe there is something that is not routed like properly, like through this ingress. So, but anyway, actually it works. So it's well like exposed, right? Yeah. And that's something you see. Actually, if I'm look, so that's quite fun, David. If I'm doing this command, you give me access to your organization and you give me the permissions to do that, like to your application. From my machine here, I can connect to your application.
Ah, nice. So you're running some sort of proxy in the cluster that
Yeah,
handles all of
yeah,
the traffic. Okay.
yeah, yeah. And it's the reverse connection to the control plane. So everything is transiting like through the control plane, but nothing is stored in the control plane because we don't store any information for security purpose. So it's all just proxy.
Okay. So I'm curious, right? We have deployed something.
Yeah,
We've got a bunch of variables, some of which I set myself,
yeah.
but I didn't actually see a way to expose these to the workload.
To expose the
Yeah, to add
environment drivers.
the environment variable. Yeah, how do I add the environment variable to the workload?
Actually, they are supposed to be in the workload. So
Oh,
if
they are? Okay, so that's just done for
yeah,
me.
they are yeah. Again, put yourself in the shoes of a developer. They add environment variables, they add secrets, they want just to see them.
All right, then I put this to you then. One of the biggest frustrations, and I work with a lot of people that need help with Kubernetes.
Yeah,
One of the biggest frustrations is they have an environment variable or a config map, and they come in and they say, okay, actually that value is wrong, and they save it. Okay, so you offer to redeploy that for me.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Now, is there any status here that says this is out of sync?
Ready, yeah, you have like you are supposed to have probably like just a bar like saying that you have to redeploy. For the environment variable, maybe not. But if you are changing any things like else, yes. But yeah, you get the live status. So if you are redeploying, you get the live status and info from your application. Yeah.
Okay, so now it's telling me that this needs to be deployed for those
Redeploy.
changes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there is something also like that you didn't click on is the service logs. So you can see also like the logs in real time of your application. You have the tabs just right to the deployment logs actually. So yeah, it was just next to you have two tabs: deployment logs and service logs.
Where's the service logs? Oh, yeah,
It
right.
was
Okay.
yeah, it was exactly in the same. You see, you have two tabs here. No, actually, when you are just in that console screen, there is two tabs. I know that it's a bit confusing. That's something that we are working on, but you can just yeah. If you go back like to the logs, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
right.
yes, exactly,
Right. Okay.
exactly. That's a bit confusing. Yeah. I know.
Yeah, I completely missed that. I just
Yeah.
right over my
And you
head.
have
Okay.
the service logs, is the logs, the live logs, like if you were like doing kubectl's logs, basically, uh, that you get, but in much more like a detailed way. Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah, absolutely.
that's nice.
Yeah. And this is transitioning from directly so from the control plane again, you see? So
Oh, I can switch pods. I mean, I've only got one. Okay. That's a really cool feature. I want to play with that. So I'm going to come into my settings and I'm going to say, how do I scale this up? Give me 3, 5. So I'm assuming this, see, the existence of instance min and instance max tells me that there's probably some sort of auto scaling that's being managed for me. I haven't seen a way to set thresholds or settings yet, so maybe you can lean into that a little bit. But I just want to
yeah,
spin up more than one, because if that does what I think it does from the terminal point of view, that's really cool. But maybe you can tell us a little bit about where was that thing? Services, clustered, settings. Okay, so we have the ability to set min and max. Do you handle auto scaling as part of your control plane?
yeah, absolutely. So the way it works is you have the default values. You can see Qovery as a video game. Okay, we cover like 90% of your needs out of the box. Okay, we are just like doing the things the way that most people do. Then if you need to change some internal parameters, you can get into the advanced settings. So you see the tab that you have on the left, advanced settings. You can get into that, and this is where you can start to tweak like the internals and change like some specific parameters. It's a key value stores like a system, and basically you have a HPA, like so if you are looking, so if you search for HPA, you can find like the way just to change also like the percent, like the CPU percentage for the auto
Yep.
scaling part, you see. So yeah, those are elements that we are add depending on like what our customers want. And yeah, exactly, recreate is available.
I'm just going to break stuff now because it's fun.
But that's good, that's good, breaking is good.
I've turned on read-only file system. The application doesn't touch the file system, so we should be all right. I changed the deployment model to recreate, which should speed up my deploys, but obviously I'll sacrifice and accept some downtime. I don't want to redeploy it just because, we have a deployment that I want to play with first, right? So we can now see that I have 3 pods.
Yeah,
And the thing that piqued my interest was
yeah,
this.
that's
So, I'm in the wrong pod. Okay, let's pop over here. Ah, that's nice. Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. It's such I'm sure it's a simple feature in the back end and all that, but to me, that's just one of those, when I find a quality of life thing like that, it just makes me happy because it shows that people understand how hard it is to debug, and you need to be able to switch context, especially across pods within services,
Yeah,
without
absolutely.
messing about. So
Even developers, and just to tell you, like, this feature is not like an easy feature because it works again like in real time. It's IO, and we are playing. So I know that one of my staff, backend engineer, explained how he did that. So it's written in Rust again, and is interacting directly with the Kubernetes API just to stream the input and the output. But you have like some restriction. And also you need to transfer back the information to the control plane, and the control plane needs to transfer back those information in real time via a WebSocket to like the browser. You see, so there is some challenges, and we have some customers that they are doing some crazy stuff, like just streaming, for instance, megabytes of data, doing those tail stuff. And this is the type of like experience that just overload like the whole system, that can overload the system. So if it's not like tailored like the right way, but anyway, that's
I am now watching it stop all 3 instances at the same time and hopefully spin up 3 more with some pretty tightened up resource restrictions. But let's tackle a couple of questions just now as well. So Moz asked, is there an ingress controller here? How are we handling traffic to the cluster?
Yeah, there is an ingress controller. Yeah, absolutely. It's an Nginx ingress controller. And actually, when you install Qovery on your Kubernetes cluster, you can tweak. So something that you didn't see, David, because you are using the demo mode, is that when you do generate, like for real, the configuration with the CLI, the Qovery CLI for your Kubernetes cluster, actually Qovery do generate for you the final Helm charts, like Helm values file. So you can apply, you can change the parameters, and you have access to those parameters like the Nginx ingress controller and so on and so forth. Yeah.
I want to make sure I understood that. So let's pop over to production. Let's say new service. You're saying if I pick a Helm chart, which I'm assuming Postgres, is that a Helm chart?
No? So under the hood, it's a Helm chart. You're right. But here it's a pre-built like Helm chart. So we are doing, so you see like this fancy interface for developers that they can use. But if you want to deploy your Helm charts, if you want, you can go just up and you see you have the Helm. Yeah. And Helm integration is very good. Like it's very, people, most of the time when they see how we did integrate that, they really love, like even DevOps engineers, actually. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know where they are.
So HTTPS probably, I do think. Yeah.
Artifact Hub. Let's see if we can get Grafana on.
Yeah.
Oh, they have their own chart. Okay.
I love this product. I'm spending 20% of my day on Grafana, looking at statistics of stuff to report.
Yeah, it's a fantastic tool. All right, so you got the repository, you scanned it and pulled down all the charts, which I'm appreciating. Nice.
It's Grafana.
Cool. Yeah. Well, let's go with Grafana, latest.
And something that you didn't notice probably, David, is that when you are looking, all those elements, version, Grafana, the chart name, you can type directly with your keyboard. Actually, it will work, and it will filter automatically like the elements for you.
Yeah,
okay. So you can type directly the command. That's something probably we need to improve in the design system that we have. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I break everything. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So if I have a values file in either my own GitHub or a public repository.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to see something very nice? Yeah, it's the raw mode, like the raw YAML mode. So here, yes, and you create override. Yeah, and here we do load the default values for you. Yeah, and you can create your own one like on the left. So it's good like just to kickstart quickly and do the stuff.
You need to add a feature where there's a little arrow here, and I click it, and it copies it
Yeah,
over here.
yeah, that's a very good. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
All right, I'm not. I won't.
I
I
think
guess we can.
my front-end developers, they will just hate you. But at least in terms of experience, it will be very nice.
All right,
Yeah.
go. All right, another question from Moz while we wait for Grafana to roll out. Do you support backup and restore of persistent volumes?
So we have also, we support like a persistent volume first. So you can add persistent volumes to your application. You have an option into like all the settings of your apps. Like, yes, the settings, storage. Yes, exactly. Oh, that's something that is disabled, like probably. Okay. Yeah, probably because it's the demo mode and we have like some features that you can add on the Helm values, especially because you need to define like the storage type. I do think that's the reason. In terms of automatic backup and restoration, no, we do not support that. We didn't have like any requests, and that's the way also we work. Is that we obviously there is so many things that we can do. The way we work is that we have a public roadmap, and we are very close to our customers, so they can just report back like the things that they want or they might want, and they can do that. But if there is a specific features into Qovery that makes like everything possible, is can you just show this maybe David? So if you go back to create a service instead of creating so yeah, if you go back here, new service, yeah, you have the lifecycle job. The lifecycle job is basically a container that you will provide. So it could come from like a Git repository or container registry where we'll execute that task. So you can specify actions and you can build your own pipeline and your own stuff. So basically you can execute commands. So let's say you want to automatically back up and restore stuff and you want to create an action for that, you can do it and you can automate the whole process. That's a way that brings like everything possible, basically. Yeah, I hope I responded to your question, Mose.
All right, nice. Yeah, I didn't really, when we came to this page, I didn't pay a lot of attention to the first ones. I went straight down to like, okay, what's difficult to deploy? But yeah, lifecycle jobs it's a neat feature. Databases,
Yeah,
nice, okay.
yeah. And when you are running on your own, so if you use the Qovery manage option, let's say you run that into AWS, you will get access to the managed databases as well. So meaning that here, will in just one click, you can provision managed database, manage Postgres, so RDS.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Which is
that's nice.
convenient, like for companies, again, remember like the perfect scenario is companies that they are coming out of past, they want to move into the years. They are not super familiar with all of that, so they just want to deal with that. Yeah.
All right, so again, I'm just clicking on stuff, but I'm curious because,
Yeah, you're curious.
well, I mean, that just means I'm excited, right? I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. So having built a lot of platforms, what happens is, we roll out production, we're all happy
Yeah.
with it. At some point, we need a staging environment. And what I was hoping to see when I clicked it, I mean, export as Terraform is nice, right? I want to dig into that in a minute. I was hoping for like a clone to
Hey,
staging.
look, you have the option.
Ah. Oh, you just made me happy. And I can change the cluster so I could clone that to
Yeah,
AWS or somewhere
absolutely.
else.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. That is a pure joy smile.
Yeah, that's a very, very, very. We have even Nasdaq companies that are using Qovery just for that feature, just to tell you, because they can create their environments and they can duplicate for their QA, sales engineers, and stuff like that. They can just duplicate stuff once it's defined.
Okay. And let's click on export to Terraform now because I'm curious what this does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Downloads, unzip. Where'd it go? Oh, no, it's in this directory. All right, okay. Main variables. Sorry for the light mode, everyone.
Yeah,
Okay, so
we
this
have
is
it.
Qovery automation for
Yeah,
what I've been doing on the UI, right?
we have a Terraform provider. That's one more reason why DevOps people they like it, because they can control everything through our Terraform provider. That's usually for production. That's what happens, is that at some point they start fast, but then they move into like a GitOps way of managing everything, and that's very convenient here because they can start at least from something and then adapt to what they need.
Okay, so this is a Qovery container.
Yeah, we do maintain that for our customer. Yeah, it's it's our own provider.
Okay, so now, I mean, I'm more curious now. Production, clustered, settings, storage, no. What happens if I then add a volume to the Terraform HCL?
Yeah.
Will it work?
If you add like a storage now, like an
Yeah.
object like into that, probably not. I do think you will be rejected by the API actually.
Right. Okay. Okay. I was
Yeah,
just curious.
yeah,
I mean, it's nice that we can eject away from the UI, and again, this can live in Git and
yeah,
can be cloned and reapplied across different clusters and stuff like that. But then I think when the UI is right there, I'd probably be inclined just to kind of stick with this. I mean, the export is nice. I can have
yeah,
snapshots of point in times, but I wouldn't. I'm not sure I would want to jump back down to modifying HCL.
yeah.
I guess that's the choice, right? People can decide what
Yeah,
they want and what's
absolutely.
best for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that we are working on is that since we are more and more, we have more and more like software engineering on one side, DevOps that they're using the platform and controlling it. What we want to do is that when a mod, so that's something that will come like next year, but basically when you modify the web interface, instead of applying the changes, instead of applying the changes right away into the API and doing those changes, we'll to generate like the Terraform configuration and update like in a GitOps way, like the configuration, so that it can be reviewed and then applied, and then the changes will be done. But yeah, usually people today they choose one or the other.
Nice. All right. I think we've kicked the tires on. I mean, we didn't even use the get started guide, right? We just let me go click happy on your UI, which is nice. But I feel like we have showed people a small, contrived example, but powerful example of what people can do with Qovery. Is there anything else that you want to show people that gives them a snapshot or a look into what you or your customers or production deployments look like with Qovery?
Yeah, I can show maybe like a few things. So maybe a much more like so maybe a much more detailed configuration.
Okay, are you happy for me to throw your screen up?
Yeah, my skin. Yeah, you can. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I
All
can.
right.
Yeah, I can show a much more like bigger view, like of different type of services that they're running on Qovery. So this is an environment that they name like production, but actually it's not. It's just for my test. But here you have a bunch of so it's running on AWS on a managed cluster, and actually this cluster has even like Kubernetes Carpenter turned on. We have an integrations with Carpenter, so we do install and manage that with our managed offer. So meaning that I can benefit from the spot instances and the downscale part like of this node autoscaler, which is great. Okay, and basically here you have like backend, front-end databases, even Terraform script. That's what I wanted just to show you. So you see, I've deployed the RDS instance with my own Terraform module, and this module is just that. Look, it's a pure Terraform script. Okay, so where I declare my resources, and I have like some inputs and some like output and variables, so I can define that. And you see, the beauty here is this, because once you have executed this Terraform script from Qovery, you want to get back the informations from like the endpoint, username, password that they are do generate it at the runtime. And even that, we do manage that properly into Qovery. So when you start deploying Terraform script, look, I got the job output values that they are available like at the execution. And that's what makes like Qovery so powerful, because here actually what you get is a deployment pipeline. So all my services, I can just execute in the right order. I can deploy in the right order of my different services. So even my Terraform RDS. And when it happens, like with Terraform, is that those output values, they are injected into the other services. They are available to the other services at the time of the execution. So you see, so that's something that is very like much closer than ever, like to the production, to something that runs like from our customers. And yeah, I just wanted to show you that, because obviously when you deploy one application, it's very simple, but when you need to interconnect like microservices, applications all together, and just order the right way those different services, then this is where it's like much more harder. And we cover like all of that, obviously. And you can clone just for your own. You can clone even that environment, David. So I can choose like even another like a cluster. So for instance, let's say Tokyo cluster on Google, I can just clone that one. Obviously, the RDS so will not be like properly working. So you can adjust and adapt like based on the meta informations that you have from Qovery. But yeah, you can clone like all the resources.
Very cool. I like that.
Yeah.
And if you just go to that pipeline, will we see that phased rollout?
Yeah. If you go to the pipeline, you get exactly the same.
All right. So it like will it update and say, oh, there's an SQS there which isn't going to work on GCP, right? But I was curious if it visualized the progress through the pipeline from left to right. But
No. But that's something that we want to bring, like a much more like visual view of when something is deployed. But today, when you do deploy like a pipeline, so if I redeploy this, for instance, production, you can see like from the logs interface, you have a view
nice.
of the pipeline. Yes, you have the first stage here that you can create. You can customize everything, but you have the first stage, then the second stage, third, and so on and so forth. So you can see, boom, here like the deployment of the different resources that they are done in parallel in each stage. So if something goes wrong, and that's something that is very nice, because when you deploy an environment, like a service can go wrong, so you can just see exactly which one at which time, and you can troubleshoot that service, and you can redeploy just that service or a set of service, and so on and so forth.
Awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to push us back to. Is there anything else you want to show before I push us back to big face mode?
No, actually, otherwise we can spend like days.
Yeah, I mean it was daytime when I started this session, and
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, same here.
All right, let's wrap this up. Maybe you could share a little bit about, I think you've given us the history about you and Qovery. We've seen the product. I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy what they see. What's next? What's on your roadmap?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So the goal for us is to ease like the integration as much as we can. We have worked on the AI agent that is open source and help like our customers to transition very easily, like from a past solutions to IaaS using Qovery in just like no time. Today it works from Rawkode to AWS and the different other cloud provider. In just 5 minutes, we can move out the workload. That's crazy. That's something that were not even possible like before LLM. That's really, it's interesting. We can drop the link because it's available on GitHub. But basically, we focus on that. And then there is like a many more that we want to provide, like supporting, also providing like a Azure managed like offer. That's something that we are working on. And you talk about that, but those enterprise features that we want, like the self-managed control plane, that's something also we want to deliver. But yeah, the product is like evolving all the time. We have invested a lot like in the developer experience, and we are eager just to get feedback from users. So when you see something, so we can just like work on it. But those are like the main big things that we are working on. Yeah.
Nice, awesome. All right. Well, I mean, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to sit here, talk about your product, show it to people. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. I think it's a fantastic developer experience and user interface on what is a pretty cumbersome and difficult challenge for many people and many teams and many organizations. And I hope that Qovery, for the people that are out there going, I need this, will solve some real challenges for them. So, thank you again.
Yeah, thanks, David. Thanks for having me. Thanks, everyone.
All right, and thank you to everyone for watching. Feel free to say goodbye in the comments as we write this out. We'll see you all next time. And Romeric, thank you again. I'll speak to you soon. Bye all.
Thank you, bye.
Lights went out, screens went dark. End of stream, let's leave a mark. Rawkode Academy session done. Now we wait for the next one. Learning paths, we all connect. Knowledge gain, we all reflect. Tech talks and the coding grind. In the stream, we all did find. Thanks for joining, thanks for the thrill. Every moment, every skill. Hope to see you next time round. Rawkode Academy Tech About. Energy, electric vibes, coding scripts, techie tribes from zero to hero in a stream. Rawkode dreams like a techie dream. Topic after topic, deep dive in. From JavaScript to Python wins. Through the errors on the patch. Together let's make a big tech splash. See you next time, can't wait to start. Innovation streams from the heart. Learning paths we hold dear. Catch you soon, Rawkode Rockers cheer.